Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Joel. So we're on episode 16 and the setting's a little bit different because I am on vacation. So I'm doing a little vacation edition with different family members, asking different questions on this topic that I'm going to be talking about, which is on honesty. So I have my sister Melissa here, and I'm going to ask her a couple of questions. And I'm gonna, give my answer as well regarding these two questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right on in. So my first question is there such a thing as being too honest? Do you think that that's like a real thing?
Yes. I feel like it is, just depending on the situation. So like one example that I could think of is if someone like just had a newborn baby. There's like a lot of people whose newborn babies, people say they look like potatoes or aliens, like online. So I feel like you're not gonna go up to the hospital room and be like, oh my god, your baby is so ugly. Like, you're not gonna do that. So to like kind of spare their feelings a little bit, you're just gonna be like, oh my gosh, like they're so cute, or they're so tiny, or something. Like, you're gonna come up with something, because I feel like if you're being too honest, sometimes it could come off as too brutal. So I feel like it just kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah, I definitely can agree to that, and I've definitely been guilty of being too honest with whether it's friends in the past or family members. As I'm probably sure I've had my own moments of being too honest to where you can't take back the words that you say, and it leads with regret. And then it leads to that person not really wanting to be as close to you anymore. So there's definitely consequences that come with being too honest. So, which honesty is a good thing, but yeah, I said going below the belt or going over the edge definitely can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
So my next question that I'm going to ask is, some people like to stretch the truth or only partially tell the truth whenever it comes to, admitting to something that maybe they've done, or even a story that they may be telling, like their side or their perspective. Do you feel like when people stretch the truth, do you think that's still considered lying, or do you see it more as telling the truth? Because I know some people, I guess it's kind of like the half full, half empty kind of situation. So what do you think as far as that?
I guess once again kind of depends on the situation. So like if there's ill intentions behind it, like let's just say let's say Hope and Rose, when they're teenagers, if they decide that they're going to sneak out one day and go partying with their friends, and I find out and I'm like, where were you? And they just say, oh, I was with my best friend, like Audrey or something, like, and they're leaving out the fact that they're with like 20 other people doing stuff they shouldn't be at their age, then I feel like, yeah, that's definitely a lie. But like other situations, like for example, another example with the kids, with Santa, we know he's not real, but the kids don't, and we just tell them, we tell them, yeah, he's real, like it's no big deal, which technically we're lying to them until we tell them the truth. So but that is for like entertainment purposes, so I feel like that is not really something I would consider lying for, say. So it just depends, like if it's ill intentions, if it's meant to hurt someone's feelings or to make yourself look like a better person in a situation, then yeah, I would say that's lying. But if it's like to spare someone's feelings about like the newborn baby thing, I mean, you're withholding the truth by not telling them your baby's ugly. So
yeah, so there's a whole spectrum when it comes to that, definitely, because you can you definitely don't want to, as we were talking about earlier, being too honest can definitely be a bad thing, but then not telling the whole truth, I guess just depending on the intent of it, like you said, as far as like when it comes to like having kids believe in like Santa and like the tooth fairy.
I find it funny that we're getting quieter on that part. It's because the kids are right outside the door.
Yeah, so try not to expose it too early. So
we're like,
I'm making sure.
Santa,
Yeah. I'm making sure my voice isn't carrying. Usually it doesn't carry, but of all times, like everyone watched us say something, they're like, "Hold on, what?" They come barging in.
I just heard them say Santa.
So yeah, I say definitely. For those kind of things, it's almost more of, I look at it more as like playing a game with them, sort of. Yeah, in a way.
Like entertainment purposes.
Yeah, like you say, for entertainment purposes, and it's. Some people may look at it as thinking that it's a lie, basically, because you're not telling the truth. But at the same time, like I said, it's just for the fun of it, and it's not. I think some people may think too deep into it.
Yeah, I just feel like if it's ill intentions or meant to harm someone, then it would be a lie. Otherwise, depending on the situation, of course, if it's to make you look like a better person, even though you were the horrible person, like Amber Heard, then yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, that was definitely a good example as far as recent times, things that have, the whole trial and all that going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely all makes sense to me. Like I said, if you're definitely withholding some stuff that are very important to the story, and if you're just only telling your side of the story, and not even telling what you did, that could probably cause a problem or anything like that within a situation you may have gotten yourself in. So yeah, let's say it really does all just depend on the situations. So yeah, that is going to be it. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next clip. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Joel. So as you can tell, I'm in a different setting. I'm actually in a condo right now because I am at Panama City Beach for a vacation. I'm here with my older brother Matt, and I'm going to be asking him a question on a topic that I'm asking other family members on, and it's going to be on honesty. So the reason why, before I ask him this question, the reason why I asked him this question is because he has his own podcast where he goes into expositions and discussions on the Bible, and I feel like he's very invested in the Word, and has these daily verses, and wants us to have a better understanding of the Word, and meditating on the Word, and just really getting a grasp of what each word means. So when you hear my question, you'll know why I'm asking him. So my question is, in Joshua 2, there's two spies that Joshua sends out to Jericho to go spy out the land. And anyway, Rahab, a prostitute, ends up, coming into contact with these two guys. She ends up hiding them. And when she's approached where they're at, she doesn't exactly tell the truth. She doesn't really say exactly where they are, and they end up going out another way, going a whole different way, and she has them hidden. So a few chapters later, when Joshua and them come, and Jericho comes down, her family ends up getting saved, and some people may look at that and misinterpret the Bible, thinking that God basically rewarded Rahab for lying. Right. And so some people may think, okay, well, if she can lie, and if she got saved for lying, basically, then I can lie. And so I thought that this would be a good thing to clear up here. So I'm going to ask Matt, what is what's a good response to give back to somebody that may interpret lying, as a good thing, just because she may have hid those two spies, and and basically saved, right. Got saved from that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, the good response to this is really just, we got to understand the whole story of Rahab and what's going on, and look at other scriptures. James chapter 2, as a matter of fact, is Rahab's mentioned there, and what you always see there in the scripture is that, I could see where people would. I even remember when I was a more, immature Christian, a baby Christian, as I call it, that people, I even thought that, man, she did something really wrong here, but yet she was rewarded. But when you start really looking at it, you see that her reward was from the fact that she had faith in God, because she even goes on to tell, the spies never told her, hey, if you lie for us and keep us hidden, we will, make sure that you're safe or anything like that. It was kind of, they were rewarded because they realized the faith that she had. If you look at Joshua chapter 2, in that portion, she starts saying, all the people in our land, including us, just melted away at the thoughts of your God, knowing what your God has done as they came through the Red Sea, and what happened to the Egyptians back when they were in slavery. So the thing is we can look at that and think, and I'm sorry, I talk with my hands. I'm a teacher of the Bible, so I have to talk with my hands. But anyway, so a lot of times, that's what people will see is that. But what's interesting in me is how this shows the sovereignty of God also, and how sovereign God is, because God does not need us to lie for His will and purpose to be done. And I even think back at another story out of the Bible. I know it's not about this, but of Abraham, and how Abraham went above and beyond what God wanted him to the promised son, which he eventually got. He had another son with his wife's concubine, or wife's maid, and of course that created a big problem that we still have today with the struggles with the Muslim nation and the Israel nation combined. We're not going to go into all that. I'm just saying there's other instances throughout Scripture where people tried to do stuff, and that's what Rahab did. Rahab lied instead. God didn't need Rahab to lie. She was there to protect them, but not in that way. She could have done it a different way. That was her own way. So, but of course, because of the faith, and that's how people are saved, and that's how people get to heaven, is through faith. James chapter 2 makes that very clear, that she had faith in God, and that's what gave her the salvation, and her family, of course, was saved when they did come in and destroy that city. I think it's interesting too to see that Rahab is also included in the genealogy of Jesus. So we know that Rahab, that's what the point I was trying to make about God's sovereignty. God's sovereignty is so strong that He can use a bad situation and turn it to good, but He doesn't need us to lie or cheat or do something wrong in order to feel like we're doing something good for even other people. God's going to work those things out regardless. But yet, even though we may make mistakes like Rahab did, I believe that was a mistake and a sin, obviously, lying and cheating, and that's basically what that is. But God still forgave her because of the faith that she has in Him, and therefore, like I said, if you look at the genealogy in Matthew, there she is. If you look at the genealogy in Luke, she's not mentioned, but her husband is mentioned there. So it's amazing to see how God is able to use people in that way. So the complete answer would be that lying is never okay. Lying is never okay, even if you feel like it's doing something for a good purpose. It's wrong in every way, and like I said, God will use you in other ways. We want to go our path, but God has His path, and sometimes it seems like it's going to go this way, but at the end of it, it's so much better because you don't have that discipline or anything that God may do during that process.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it's important to understand the full Bible for what it's like, and because some people may just read a part of a chapter or part of a passage and just think, I'm going to go based off this, and I'm going to live my life lying now just because it said that she told them a different story, or like where they were or where they were actually at. So So that's
Yeah, she actually, yeah, right. Yeah, she told them they've already left, basically.
Yeah.
And they were heading up on the roof. So
yeah, so it's definitely important for all Christians, whether you're a baby Christian, which is someone that's new to Christianity, is a new believer that wants to get into the Word, or if you are a little bit more mature, it's just definitely important to really invest in the Word and like understand the Word, because I'm still learning things every day, and even here recently